Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Welcome, everyone, to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We're broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM from New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey from day one. So thank you, Folgers. We love you and just would not be the same without you guys. Also, a big thank you to Dr. Snick, a.k.a. Justin Snicker, the Sonic Surgeon, for his sponsorship and contribution of time and music for that amazing intro and outro that you hear. Mostly the intro. Sometimes we run out of time for the outro. You can find all of his music on anywhere that good music can be found. Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, etc. And go check him out. He's got a huge array of tunes. Tonight, we welcome back Lesley Mitchell Clarke. She's going to be discussing contactee and abductee hypnosis. You will recognize Lisa Savoy, who has worked with Lesley. Wes Roberts has worked with Lesley. So we're going to be getting into some of that. We're going to be getting into abductions on average, light work, things of that nature. Now, tonight, if you guys are tuning in, you're going to be on, of course, our various YouTube. Well, let me see where we're at tonight. Tonight, we are on Facebook. Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover, UFO Paranormal, United Public Radio, Canada's Most Haunted, The Outer Realm with Amelia and myself, News on the Flip Side. And if you are over on YouTube, you can check it out at The Outer Realm Radio under my private account, Michelle DeRoche, UFO Gods and Extra-Terrestrials, UFO Paranormal Radio. And if you like the content, guys, come on. Go ahead and just maybe give us a little bit of a subscribe over there. Those subscribe numbers really, really count. So we appreciate your support big time. If you remember last week, we were talking about, it was last week, I think, or the week before. We were talking about doing little Folgers clips, trying to see if our fans wanted to get really creative. Well, Wayne Murphy from Team Templar North America basically decided he would put a little ditty together for us, just a little 45-second clip, and it's just nice and laid back. So we're going to play it for you right now. So you see, your clip can end up in front of millions of people. So if you want in, send us something. Here we go.
As I've gotten older in life and learned to enjoy the simpler things, I find that in my old eye I see things a lot clearer. Phony friends, phony ideas, and just plain nonsense. You learn to appreciate the good things in life, the simple things. Grandkids, your children, your home, everything you have. And when it comes to something good and simple, my choice has always been Folgers Coffee. Honest, true. Just like TTNA.
That was
Bam!
awesome.
Wasn't that awesome? I love it.
As you get older, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's written a real commercial. I think
I know.
Folgers might want that.
There we go.
Well
Wayne Murphy,
done,
thank
Wayne
you for
Murphy.
that one.
Well done.
Well done
my
indeed.
goodness.
Folgers, listen in.
Wow.
We're rolling in.
That
So,
was really good.
I know. I thought that was just
No
fabulous.
carbonated sounds, no can.
It was great, wasn't it?
That was
I'm just
awesome. Great job, Wayne Murphy.
okay.
Wow.
That
So
was really cool. I heard that and I went, oh yeah, we've got to find a way to get this on tonight. This is definitely a
Absolutely.
thing.
So if you're out there at home and you're thinking, hey, I can do that, or I can do that a little bit better, make sure you send it to the outerrealmcontact@gmail.com. The outerrealmcontact@gmail.com.
I know.
And you never know. We might just have it up. Just make sure it's there before showtime. Get it there. Get one there tonight, tomorrow morning. No, tomorrow you can't.
No, tomorrow will be a pre-record.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that I could probably get it on if you get it that quick, but I would have to really have it early to do that. But
Yeah. Otherwise, for next week, there's 2 spots open.
Exactly. We have 2 nights a week where we can do this. We need to see that amazing Folgers. One way or another. So this is going to be a thing, and let's do it. So people are rolling in. Tamara, Wayne, Bradley. Hello, guys. Yeah, this is great. I've sent this to the link off to Lesley, so maybe we should get her prepped.
Yeah, I will just do a recap on her.
I can.
Yes, he
Well
did
done
very
indeed.
well. He did very well. Wow, he's got the voice for it too. I'm just
he
saying,
does.
Like, he's really got the voice for it.
Yep.
Okay, Lesley Mitchell Clarke, fellow Canadian and Torontonian, just saying, is a Toronto-based certified clinical hypnotherapist who specializes in a number of modalities, including working with individuals who feel they have had experiences with extraterrestrial beings. Most of this fascinating work, as well as metaphysical therapies such as past life and interlife regression, takes place at Lesley's Toronto hypnosis clinic, Lightwork Hypnosis. And I bet you she's licensed. Just prior to her work. Just a little tidbit out there. Hello, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. Hi, Christian.
Prior to her work in hypnotherapy, Lesley has also had a busy career as an actor, dancer, vocalist, and for the past 20 plus years, she has also been a top jazz and arts media consultant with an array of Grammy and JUNO-winning clients, as well as major jazz festivals and record labels. Lesley is currently the director of LMC Media, with offices both in Toronto and Lesley's hometown of New York City. She is also a busy arts writer, contributing regularly to a variety of publications. We love having her on. She is just so much fun, and Canada loves her. Just saying.
We do, and we're just waiting for her to come on board here. So just watching as all of our platforms are getting met. Thanks everyone.
Yes,
there we go.
The artist himself.
Thank you for sending it.
Excellent, Wayne.
It was so laid back. You've got a lulling kind of voice. You make us want to have a Folgers and just get out on that nice big deck of yours and put our feet up and right. There we go.
That's right. Without them, we wouldn't be here. But
Exactly. So as we work or wait for Lesley, I find it interesting when you made, we're just going to give a little pot shot out there right now. When you made the comment.
Because the smoke is coming out of my ears.
Thank you,
just
Wayne.
Saying. Yeah.
When she made the comment about being licensed.
Absolutely.
That's a big one. And we're only making mention of it because that's what we do, is to raise awareness, because we've recently come across a situation, and I say situation because there was somebody that we were assisting who apparently got a regression. And hey, Zach, man.
Hi,
but
Zach.
This regression wasn't licensed to bring anybody to hypnotize everyone, but it sure, it was all validated. Oh yes, this did happen. And it really did harm to this individual.
Thanks,
Yeah, it really did harm to this individual. I mean, on a serious level. I'll have to clue you in on that too, Amelia, because more stuff came in. But
yeah.
So you see, definitely always look for references, and it's hard because this individual has good references,
extremely good and well known.
Yeah, but nowhere in the credentials is there anything mentioned. Hi, Lynn. Anything mentioned about being a certified hypnotist. That'd be something else I would be interested in talking to Lesley about, because that's just so not cool, realistically.
It's very dangerous. You're talking about working with someone's mental state.
Yeah.
And last I looked, it requires a degree in some form of certification. And for yourself, you need to do your own due diligence, as Michelle said, where you need to get references. If you want to see a psychic medium and they're talking past life regression, make sure they're certified for this, because most of them aren't. They just think that they can bring you back, which is, it's something that we can even do ourselves through meditation. But
Sure.
it's just, it doesn't mean that we're out there doing it, just because you can. You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with, what kind of traumas they may have had, and something that you might disconnect and create great harm. The first thing we looked at was when we found out who this person is, and I'm not going to say, we're
No,
not
we don't
giving
wanna do
away names.
that.
We just want to create awareness, because this is happening more than just this person. A lot of people are out there doing past life regressions who really shouldn't be. Make sure that you're not just picking up somebody from online. Make sure that people who've had this work done with them. And you yourself have to be honest with yourself. If you are in depression or have anxiety, I don't think it's a good idea to be with someone who does this and is not certified.
You don't know that they're doing it properly. You don't know that they're bringing you back properly. And it was misinformation. It wasn't even accurate information.
Was it ever bad?
Saying, oh, hey, this is you, this is who you
Oh,
were in
I'm so
another life.
sorry for your loss, Lynn.
Oh, sorry, Lynn.
Yeah.
Deepest condolences.
It's a really tough one, because people get excited and they want to know who they were in a past life. But the truth is, not everyone can do it. You need to leave it up to the professionals. And there's different levels of hypnosis. We don't know how far this person took her. And what's really sad is this person is really well known and has really great credentials. So we're just saying, look for certification. If you're going there for a reading, it's one thing. But if you're going to see a psychic medium who says, I can do past life regression, ask for proof. Ask for validation.
Yeah, look at the credentials. Those credentials should be up on the wall of the office as well.
Exactly. That's where you really need to see them, because anybody can put anything online. Like, let's not pretend here. Anybody can put anything online. I mean, how many GIs of ladies have you had in your DMs slide in and try to, clickbait and fish, catfish you? So it's the same thing with mediums. I don't doubt that this person thinks they can do it, but the repercussions of the choice of this person have been so serious. So serious. So please, just be careful.
The recent link.
It's
she's struggling.
Thing.
Let me try
it's
again.
Okay. I'm struggling with my soundboard, so we're all
email it
today.
All right, I'm just going to email it to her. I think that might help, because sometimes Messenger,
it doesn't work all the time,
gives a problem. So bear with us, guys. Bear with us.
I do have two pairs of glasses on my head, one on my face, one on my head. My hair bothers me.
Yes, this is.
But this was devastating to hear what had happened to this this person who went to seek a regression, and it's devastating.
It is, and you know what? You get to that point where you have to really do your homework with some people, because sometimes you just do not get. Okay, this isn't going to be. I guess we've never emailed. Right.
Thanks, Tamara. I always. Sometimes I even have my sheets up there. Like, it's just ridiculous. I forget.
Oh.
You'll see me do this if you're anywhere near me. I'm always doing this to see if I have a pair with me. Because we're not speaking about just a malevolent entity attachment. We're talking, it has disrupted the mental health of this person. That is really, really serious. So, anyways.
Once I keep talking, I'm just actually communicating with her. I'll have to redo this one. She wants it elsewhere. Okay. No, I think the problem is with some people as
Tamara walks into the shower. Sorry. With her glasses on. She's even I haven't hit that point yet.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Good evening, Doreen. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So.
Now I'm gonna double check my head when I walk into the shower.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. Sometimes Messenger, the guest will say, can you just put it in Messenger? Sometimes Messenger just will not allow it to be a thing. So no, what I was saying is, and I'm sure Lesley can actually elaborate a little bit more, but sometimes everything you see online, sometimes it looks really stellar.
Hi, Jamie.
That's why you really need to dig deep sometimes and just look up reviews. Go on Google and go reviews.
Oh, but this person has great reviews.
It's really hard. All
this
I know
is a tough one because we were looking for negative stuff and we couldn't find anything.
But
this one's tough.
We just see right now there's an individual and in a lot of trouble right now and was given this happened and wasn't even given proper information. So that tells me, did you really hypnotize this person because you gave the wrong information? Because a good medium will go, no, that's not a thing.
And I think when we do have past life regressions, we have to keep in mind, not everybody's coming up Cleopatra. I mean, some of us, come up differently. I know someone who came up as Hitler. It doesn't have to be. You could just be a regular person. Like, why? If you're coming up with celebrities and people are coming out of this person's office with celebrities or anybody who's well known in the media or in the news, and I'm not saying that this person was called Cleopatra. It's not like that at all. It's actually so much darker, but
it messed her up, is all I'm saying.
It really did in such a serious way.
Well,
and it's just so heartbreaking. Well, that's another thing. We have to be honest with ourselves if we need therapy before going in as well.
Our guest is here.
Yay!
Bam!
Hello, beautiful.
Oh, yeah, How you guys doing?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I got to tell you, we have a very protracted spring process in Ontario, and you know what I mean? What is it we say? We got 9 months of winter and 3 months of rough sledding.
Oh my gosh.
Not wrong on that. Oh
but
my
it was
gosh.
A nice day today, and I got out into it, and I'm so happy to be here and see you.
Oh, we're so happy to have you.
We love having
beauties.
You came in at perfect timing. We were just discussing. I'll let Michelle fill you in because I think that your input we both feel is very, very important in ways.
Before we get to the abductee-contactee crazy stuff, we were talking about hypnosis in general, and people are chiming in. We came across a family that we were working with, and where a young individual hooked up with a medium life coach who's very, very reputable, at least on paper and online, and claimed to have had a past life regression, but there was no mention of any sort of credentials to be able to do hypnotherapy, and it really messed this person up. I mean, really bad, and didn't even give this person the right information. Gave this person like really dark information. Like I said, you almost need counseling after some of this stuff. So people are chiming in. So what are your thoughts on that? What do you do with somebody who do you have to fix a lot of these problems?
Well, thankfully, no, not too many. However, I will say that of late, I've seen a little bit of an uptick in, these really untrained people, it's very easy to get a little certification as a life coach. So I'm
Right.
seeing, and I'm sure there are wonderful people doing that. Please do not. But I
Right.
think there are also
Right.
people who are saying, well, this is going to take me a weekend. Groovy. Let me get that. And
Yeah.
are doing regression processes without any, training
Training
like
or
whatsoever
certification.
or
Yeah.
certification. And I got to tell you, it's well, this is an interesting point. I carry practitioner insurance, and I think most reputable practitioners do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I once asked, like my guy, I said, this is such a benign process, and where are the lawsuits coming from? I mean, who is suing,
Hmm.
hypnotherapists? And he said, well, every single thing that has happened has had to do with a regression process.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
So, now even now, now a fact here is
Thank you, Lisa.
even the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is, the that's our union for North America, and any kind of hypnosis training should be certified by them.
Right.
That's how we do, quality control. But, of course, it's not, really enforceable. You can
Hmm.
have, the University of Duda and their hypnosis program. I mean, I don't really think that there's any way to enforce this, but I will say that if you're a person moving ahead and looking for a practitioner,
Hmm.
please do make sure that they have been trained through the National Guild of Hypnosis and are members and are carrying insurance.
See, that's perfect advice right there.
Perfect
Yeah.
timing
Yeah.
because we are assisting this person, and this person is in dire straits, and
Oh,
Mm.
we took a peek at this psychic medium life coach, and
mhm.
there is nothing, not even a mention of regression
No.
Oh
on there.
boy.
So it's really scary, and
It makes it really difficult because, you go in there with all these aspirations thinking, oh, this is going
Yeah.
to be great. I'm going to get answers, and not so much. And it's not the first time I've actually heard the story of, people coming out even with like super migraines and
Oh yeah. I mean, you can even bring somebody
yeah,
exactly. But if you bring someone out of hypnosis too quickly,
yes,
they
that's
will
exactly
get
what
a
happened.
horrific headache. So that again
There we
shows
go.
an amateur, not the proper training. Now, interestingly enough, even in the, hypnotist part 1 training, the very basic beginnings of the NGH certified training, they do discuss past life regression, and the reason for that is that it can happen automatically
Right.
when
mhm,
you least expect it. And if you've got a calming voice and you've got someone in there who's receptive and you ask them to go to the root of their problem, you
Hmm.
could end up, in the 12th century.
Right.
This is the kind of thing that, and it's actually happened to me inadvertently when I
mhm.
was a young practitioner. But the
Hmm.
thing is, not to freak out and to handle it. Well, we cover it a little bit in the
Right.
basic NGH, but for myself, personally, I was just a regular practitioner for a while before I took on all of the past life. Well, for us
Hmm.
in the NGH, it's a kind of a package.
Right.
I am certified in what they call metaphysical hypnotherapy, which
Very
means that
nice.
I'm certified in past life regression, interlife regression, which is really fascinating. We should talk. I don't know if we talked about that at all
I know
last
we're
time
gonna
we
just
were.
talk about like
Yeah,
everything.
that was really.
Yeah,
I
whatever
think
you
that was like
want.
Yeah,
cool. So
we'll see where it
that
takes us.
and then
Yes.
also something that I mean, I call it energy release, but some
Hmm.
chapters call it entity release.
Right.
But
Right.
whatever it is releasing negative ideas,
Yeah.
if you will, that are actually lodging in the body in some
I think we talked
esoteric
about that
way.
the last show in great
Yeah.
detail, and it was
Uh,
yeah, it did. The show did really, really well. You guys just all have to go back and watch that archive to get in on that one.
Yeah.
Um, So just to for Kane and Lucas from Chile, all the way from Chile. Thank you for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. Amelia, can you see?
Chile.
Can you read
Yo me
that?
gusto, Chile.
Yes.
¿Qué
Yes.
pasó,
Yes.
carnal? ¿Qué pasó? ¿Todo bien?
Right?
Oh, very nice.
Love Chile.
Well, he's got
If
a great question.
Canon asked, if a person is under hypnosis, is there a chance that he will stay in that state forever?
No, there is, and that is surprisingly a very common fear. Hypnosis has to be reinforced and reinforced and reinforced.
Right.
Now, I can put someone into a very deep state of hypnosis where you can barely see their breathing, and we call that hypnotic coma or the Esdale state. Now, it
Right.
only, in my opinion, it only has medical uses in pain relief. But still, if I was going to keep that person in any kind of altered state for more than 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I would have to keep reinforcing it and reinforcing it. And after a while, the body would just say no and wake up. So it's a kind of a temporary effect, if you will, and there is absolutely no risk of losing consciousness at that depth. In fact, when we do a lot of hypnotic processes, we like to keep people in the alpha state, like in between wakefulness and being asleep. So you're at no time are you unconscious in any hypnotic procedure. You may drift in and out of awareness, but at no time are you unconscious unless that's what I'm intending to do in pain relief, to just get someone into deep sleep, into the delta state or what have you.
Right. Okay. Well, there we go. There we go.
So
There's
no worries.
yeah, no worries. You're all,
No
well, if
worries.
you go to somebody reputable for sure.
Oh.
Michael actually had posed a different question. It was under another name about deja vu. I think he was looking for just opinions on the belief of what is deja vu.
Well, there are a few different opinions on this. Now, I myself have experienced a number of times classical deja vu, where I was in a location or with an individual that triggered a very, very strong recollection. And I felt as if I had lived it before, and I experienced those moments mostly in Scotland, in the UK, and Ireland, mostly there. But
Beautiful.
I don't know if that plugs into more recent lifetimes, but I've experienced that phenomenon. Now there is also a school of thought, and I wouldn't necessarily dismiss this, that talks about the nature of time and the fact that, of course, time, as we talk about it, is not really linear. That's an agreement that we make so we can progress and accomplish things and meet for coffee or whatever, so but it's probably more like an onion, in the sense that it's layered and interconnected and sort of attached, and there are places that are not as dense as other places, I think, in the space-time continuum. And it may be possible to slip in for a bit to an alternate reality, and the sensation that one would get is, oh, this has happened before. So I wouldn't discount either thing, and I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think either thing could happen. I think the last time I was on the show, I talked about my weird little slip into the past down in Greenwich Village.
You did.
Right?
Yes.
So and that absolutely happened. So I think there are little thinned layers in space time. And there may even be, portals and passageways in space time that allow beings to arrive here that are really ultra dimensionals, rather than aliens from a physical planet in our third density.
The sensation is more like precognition. I get nauseous when I have deja vus. I don't know why, but I get nausea.
Well,
I have to hold myself. I get dizzy. I have to, if I'm standing, I have to like literally, I'm holding myself up kind of feeling. And I feel queasy. and a little bit dizzy. And then I
Well,
see it all play out in front of me.
that makes perfect sense to me because first of all, I think, both of you beauties would agree that any profound spiritual thing has the potential to overwhelm our systems for a moment. It's not
Yes.
necessarily negative, it's just the way that we are processing. Now, what you're talking about, I experienced something, just like that at the Tower of London. I was
Mhm.
Mhm.
standing at what they call the Traitor's Gate, and when the tide is high, that's where the prisoners who probably were never going to see the light of day again were rowed down the Thames and right into the Tower of London. And I was so overwhelmed by the residual
Mhm.
fear and grief, and it was like a wall, and it hit me, and I thought I was going to throw up, and I was
Mhm.
unstable and dizzy.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it was in my experience that those physical manifestations were not necessarily about deja vu, but just picking up on the saturation
Mhm.
of
Of
grief
energy.
and fear and energy that
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't like to think of the idea of souls being trapped there.
Mhm.
That's a very disturbing idea, but I certainly think
Easy to fix.
yeah, it can be fixed. It can be fixed. That's
Just
why when
saying.
you go in on when I go in with the little groups I work with, man, it's always got to be about spirit rescue. It's
Yes,
not an
It's such
entertainment,
a great feeling.
it
you know.
is.
Yeah,
It
it's
And
such a
is.
great feeling doing rescues. They're the best.
They are for sure. Next
Oh,
question, Bubbles. You
Lynn,
see that one?
Wendy, thank you. Yes. Can everyone be hypnotized? Are there some that can't be? I can tell you right now, I drop at your knees
I don't
when
think
you
I
go
can
like
be.
this. I'm just
I,
like,
I've I've been told off
yeah,
because I've been told I
I'm just
can't.
like
Like it's.
right out
I'm
cold.
aware of everything
Anyway,
that's going on the whole time. It's like,
well, I think first of all, we have to demystify what hypnosis is.
yeah.
Like
right.
I said, it's not unconsciousness. It's simply adjusting your brain vibration, which is done through relaxation. So, in that sense, anybody, I believe, can be induced into a light state of hypnosis. Now, obviously, some people are, they just fall in
Yeah.
there,
I'll
Amelia,
give you my
down.
PIN number. I'll give you
yeah,
my PIN
Yeah.
number. I won't even
they're
know it.
just there,
Bubbles down.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
that comes with remote viewing because it's just a training that you're easily,
oh, of course.
transferring
Of
energy.
Yeah.
So,
course. Of
yeah.
course. You're already involved in stimulating those parts of your brain that are involved
Yeah.
in all that. So I think that that's kind of a cool thing. But anyway.
Ah, I
The
love
long and
it. I
short of
like
it
the
all,
feeling of it. Kenan asks, is it dangerous to perform hypnosis if the patient is under the influence of a hallucinogenic drug?
like
Yeah,
mushrooms.
man.
Yeah.
Good
Maybe.
thinking, Bob.
Yeah.
Good
Maybe.
thinking. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually threw someone out of my office once who came for past life regression, and I got partly into it, and they started to kind of freak out, and they
Oh,
pulled
that'd
themselves
be
out of
hard.
hypnosis and said that they had God, it wasn't weed. I'm such an old fart. Maybe it was like angel dust, which I think is hallucinogenic.
Right. So,
That's what it was. And I
yeah.
said,
Yeah.
you get the boop out of my office.
Oh, that'll mess you
So,
up. It's like doing
and
ayahuasca, I guess. So,
it,
It's dangerous for both of you, for you and for
well,
your
it's
client.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yes, it was
it's
yeah.
and you
terrible.
don't and I mean in the word right there, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Hallucinogenic means you're hallucinating. Why would you want to go under hypnosis when you don't know what's real? And the sitter and the person hypnotizing you is dangerous for both of
Oh,
But
you.
it
I
is.
think I can tell you, some people believe, if you go back to ancient times, that mushrooms, for example, they use it
Oh,
in ayahuasca as well, that you can take it. And they believe that, and there's a lot of information surfacing about the magic mushrooms. I've never
Mhm.
partaken, just saying. So, anyway, poor people go, have you tried? No.
nope,
And, but I won't even do ayahuasca. Okay.
no.
But but they believe that the experiences they're having, that they're really reaching out with, whether it's extraterrestrial beings, whether it's their ancestors
but
coming
just train
through.
Yeah.
yourself. Just train yourself to spiritually to get there. You don't
That's
need to
kind
just.
of
Exactly, I
that's
know.
kind of my way now, but
Like
I'm not gonna.
DMT,
Yeah,
right?
I don't really understand that, but not I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. But I gotta tell you, man, I'm old, so I lived through the '60s. I took a lot of LSD, and I did a lot of mushrooms, and
Right.
Yeah,
I
it was
did.
a different time. I think it's resurfacing again
Well,
that
it's
way.
it's resurfacing, but I mean, it's too much for me. I couldn't
Right.
imagine ever being that high
I
again,
can't.
Right.
I
ever.
can't
I don't like not
understand it.
having
It doesn't.
control over my head,
No,
my
I
brain.
I don't either, but I do love champagne. I'm just gonna say,
Well,
but
that's
you
something
know,
else,
that's
that's
a whole other.
okay.
I like the
That's a whole
bubbles.
other thing. That's
Of
a
course you do.
I love
but
the bubbles.
I think through meditation, I mean, I think any spiritual, I'm not telling you which to do,
Yes,
spiritual
yes.
discipline. There's a wide variety of things. You got to find the thing that works for you. For me, I've been a transcendental meditator for, I'm embarrassed to tell you how long, but really a lot of years. And I think that gradually and subtly, rather than a blast of some kind of psychotropic you know uh, wonder thing, it has helped to there has been an evolution, but subtle. But
Hmm.
now that's my way. There are people that are very experimental, and to
Hmm.
them, this is a sacred thing. It's sacred to these indigenous people. So,
It is.
I would
Yeah.
Yes, it
never
is.
put it down in any way. I'm just saying, for me, I just don't want to be that high.
No, I get it
That's
too.
how I
No,
feel.
I
You
I
know,
can't
put
handle
that on
not
the
that
not
record.
being
Yeah.
in
high.
control. But I
No.
Yeah.
think for some people as well, if you're not, if you don't know how to use let's say a psychic ability or something,
Mhm.
that would be the way you would take
They
because it would be a,
shortcut through DMT and
it is
stuff.
a
Yeah.
Yeah,
shortcut.
Yeah.
it's a
But
shortcut,
It
and
is. It
if you
yeah,
is.
don't know what's real, you don't know. I think if you're going to do something like that, make sure you're surrounded by people you can trust. I don't understand because the understanding I have is you take ayahuasca and you throw up. I
at first.
can't handle a
Yeah,
cold.
at
Like if I
first.
have to throw up, I'm just like I'm not in. I
Yeah,
don't get
that's
the appeal, you
yeah,
Not
know?
no,
promoting
that's
any
part of it.
hallucinogens here. Just
No,
saying.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the appeal of it.
Yeah.
But but
Mm.
Michelle and
That's
I see
true of
some.
peyote or anything like that. When we were doing
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
we used to
Exactly.
I always used to have a milkshake first.
Right.
Made it
Yeah,
a lot easier.
there you
But
go.
There we
but you're
Yeah.
go.
right. But no, it sounds insane now when I talk about it. It sounds insane,
Giving all those little
but
pointers. Take a milkshake first, and no,
yeah,
no, no.
I know. Back in
Wow.
the
Yeah.
day,
Like
Oh.
those are the days. But at any rate, I do think for some people, it's an incredible path. Now, my own
Hmm.
nephew is very, he has a wonderful straight ahead career in the entertainment business, but he is a real expert at these journeys involving DMT,
Yes.
and he believes or has told me that he has had encounters
See.
with ultra terrestrial
Yep.
beings, and I have no doubt that whatever the chemical makeup is of
The
that
DMT.
compound,
Yeah.
that it elevates our vibration probably enough to be able to find a kind of common ground with beings that aren't even physical anymore.
I completely
So,
agree because DMT is within like our pineal gland
oh, we
and all
have
that.
it,
So
and
yeah, so
yeah,
that's a natural part.
it is.
And if your pineal gland's calcified, I could see why people would go to try
there's
to.
there's meditations you can do to
We can bring it.
decalcify
It,
that.
it can
Oh, for
be.
sure. But I'm
It
just
can be
saying,
brought, but
Yeah.
it can
not
be brought
everybody.
back.
No,
Yeah.
we just have to. I'm just creating an
Yeah.
awareness so you can choose something other than that. There is a way to meditate to clear that and break
Okay.
that
So here's another
calcification.
Absolutely,
question.
absolutely, and
Um,
we do use also hypnosis to speak directly to the pineal gland to start releasing the substances
nice.
Ah,
in a
very
healthful
nice.
way,
Yeah,
and
I definitely have to
um,
come see you. Yeah.
Yes. Like
I
Be a
have
you
lot
need
heard.
it.
easier. Be a lot
Yeah.
easier if Leslie's doing it than me because sometimes
Oh,
it's I can meditation. I could just slip right in. I'm just easily.
well, you
I
can't
shouldn't be putting
really,
that out there.
if you no, but it's what the reality is. If you in this era of the real-time mapping of the brain, we do know that if you hook up somebody's brain who's been put into hypnosis, and you hook up somebody's brain who is meditating, it is virtually impossible to tell the difference.
Right.
These are
Yeah.
both alpha signature brain waves, and the
Right.
same kind of healthful thing is going on in your brain and your body. When you are meditating, you are in the same zone as where I let people take themselves.
Right.
Yeah,
know.
that makes sense.
There we go.
Summerborn, I love that name. Could you slip into an alternate reality and stay there?
Under hypnosis?
Is
Or
under
do you mean
hypnosis,
slipping like
or
while we're
just
just walking around? Let us know.
well,
Yes, yes, yes.
who's to know that that hasn't happened? I mean, there are,
Yeah.
there are so many cases of missing persons who just basically vanish out
Mhm.
of the face of the off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And I am a great believer that there are many portals, natural or otherwise, that can be activated under certain circumstances. And
Mm,
I think I think it might be possible that if you did slip through the right kind of vortice, that
Yeah, just the
you could remain there.
power spots. Look at Outlander.
Oh,
oh my
You know how many
gosh.
people go
right.
hugging those stones now?
Yeah,
It's one
those
Take
stones,
me, bring
I
man.
me
know.
to Jamie. Yeah.
No, but it happens. Power spots. I mean, the ancients built over top of places like this
Well,
on purpose.
and they know now with LiDAR. I was just watching a show on this the other day. With the use of LiDAR, they have now discovered that these power points, Karnak and
Yes.
Stonehenge and all the
Yes.
other henges, that they are atop caves,
Hmm.
crystal caves.
That
There we
makes
go.
So
sense.
we're really talking about piezoelectricity here,
Hmm.
that apparently ancient antediluvian man was able to use fully, and that's why they're there. It's no accident. Why would I can't I'm still waiting to see what they're going to find underneath Göbekli Tepe, and
I
especially
know.
now that they have found that it's a major super complex
It
in the
is.
same way that Stonehenge was a major super
But
complex.
not the oldest now. They have found one older
No.
than that one.
Oh yeah.
So that's fascinating.
I think the Bosnian pyramidal structure is the most ancient European structure now, at they're estimating 60,000 years old.
That is the oldest because I think even
Yeah.
Russia came in at their pyramid structure came in at 45,000.
Yeah.
So Bosnia is an
Well,
ancient.
we still don't know what's in Antarctica, so it could be something older.
Oh,
Ooh.
I am just waiting for that. I think it's what, with the planetary shifts that have occurred, it's highly
Mhm.
possible that Antarctica was like an Eden-esque,
It was. They've already shown that. Yeah.
Hyperborean kind of. I
Yes.
know there has to be a reason. Did you see that clip where one of our notable astronauts? I can't remember. Was it John Glenn?
Hmm.
And several very, very important people actually went in to a specified cavern in
Hmm.
Antarctica, and were like away for hours and hours and hours, and have never spoken about what happened in there or
There's
what they
allegedly a
saw.
portal there too.
Why not?
Well,
How big is that portal?
How big is
doesn't have
that
to be.
portal?
I know,
I'll
Exactly.
tell
right?
you no
Doesn't have to be
lie.
very big.
Don't
Just
say, because I'll be
open.
doing backup for you in a second.
There we go.
No,
That's what I need.
that's
And
it.
start serenading.
My
Question.
gosh. Yes,
Yes.
Corinne Champagne, my dear friend. Hello. If under hypnosis you go back to a past life, what happens if you are killed at that moment in your past life? What happens to you?
Oh, well, we absolutely guide people through the death experience.
Yeah.
That's the that is the if you are trained to do. See, I think I should point out that when we do past life regression as a hypnotherapist, it's all about the healing that
Mhm.
happens with the recall of the past lives that that person decides to visit, or that they're supposed to visit. And very often when people come for a past life regression, they don't necessarily know where they want to go. So we just put the intention out there that the lives that are supposed to show up, or that that person is supposed to take a look at, are the ones that pop up. And invariably, that's kind of how it works, that
Mhm.
people experience the lifetimes that seem to be most applicable to right now, which is why I always say, this past life stuff is fantastic, but the most important lifetime is right now.
Right.
Absolutely.
We have the power to manifest new pathways and ways of doing things. So, but the so what happens to a person? As I said, we guide them through the experience, but we do it very, very gently, and we sort of turn the person into an observer. And at the very end of course, this happens at the end of a lifetime where I've asked 10,000 other questions, right?
Right.
And so it's at the very end, and we say, and now we're going to visit the death experience itself. And then I say, you feel no pain, you're simply an observer. However, we do have the person become aware of when their spirit leaves their body, but I never, ever, ever have anyone relive trauma or pain.
Right.
So that's how we do it when it's done properly. There is absolutely no productive end to someone re-experiencing trauma or pain.
That means certified people, just saying. Okay.
Yeah. I love Tamara's question. Where did
Mhm.
it go?
There we go.
Where
Hold
did
on.
it
There we go. There
go?
we go.
What is the weirdest hypnosis? Oh, hypothesis? I think
What is
she's saying
hypothesis experience you've dealt
hypothesis.
with?
Geez, I can't even. I got glasses on and I can't even see
I'm
that.
not sure that's what Tamara means. I think the bloody spell check.
Hypnosis?
I think the bloody spell check came in, or
That's it.
whatever
Yeah.
that is.
They
Hypnosis experience
someone.
sounds right.
Okay, so I
Yes.
was right.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
one of the weirdest ones. Oh my goodness. Well, there's been quite a few of them, but as we discussed in detail last time,
Yes. Yes.
I try to be as rigorous as I can be as far as the intake that I do before I accept somebody as a client, especially for any kind of metaphysical work. I have to be extra careful that people
Right.
have no history, no um, mental
Yes.
health history, etc. So let's see.
Good point.
Did I tell you about the um, the gentleman who began speaking in the ancient language? And did I tell you about
I
that
think
last night?
so.
Yeah.
That was definitely maybe the strangest thing
Right.
that has
Right.
happened. But
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I just have a wide envelope for strangeness.
That's okay though.
It's
That's
hard
No,
for me
that is
to
really
pick
cool
something
though.
out, but
we
I think sometimes people surprise me when they change sexes quickly,
mhm.
when they're recalling past lives, because it's like a whoop, it's like a 360 where maybe they're a woman, then they're a man.
Right,
I have
right.
heard people speaking in all kinds of languages.
Right.
That some that are familiar to me, some that sound ancient in the extreme.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I think that yeah, as far as strange experiences, now I have at times been very startled by things that people have told me when I've been working with experiencers. I'd say that is a little more,
So
flying by the seat of your
So
pants
let's get
kind of a
into
thing.
that then, because
Mhm.
that's, I think, what we were going to tackle this time
Hmm.
around
Hmm.
was getting into it. Because, we've had Wes on and we've had Lisa
Oh,
on, and I know
an old
I always say he's
Lisa.
got an open door policy also, you know, but, but this is where we were sort of leaving it this
Hmm.
time, to get into, I guess, the meat and potatoes of the whole abductee contactee
Hmm.
experience, because
Okay.
there's some people are pretty traumatic. Then you've got my lab, then you've got,
Yeah.
RET's actually this or this,
Yep.
or so
Yep.
where do you want to start with that? I want you to lead it where you want it to go, because it's pretty diverse.
Oh,
There's
it
like a
is
lot of
diverse.
information with this stuff, right? Like,
Mhm.
Well, people do have a great variety of experiences.
Right.
And there are a number of different extraterrestrial and ultra-terrestrial beings that we engage with. But one thing I would like to say is
Hmm.
it is actually very rare to regress someone and it is a painful lab-oriented
Oh,
experience.
mm.
That's really a very tiny percentage. In fact, I was talking to
Hence Lisa.
yeah, I was talking to Kathy Martin not long ago, and I probably mentioned that I was part of the MUFON experiencer research project, which was Kathy's thing, and she was the director of the whole project. And
Right.
the results that came out after thousands of regressions, over a 10-year period, that 10% of the experiencers on the high end had what I would call euphoric type experiences. I mean, mingling with beautiful beings and receiving information. I mean, just
Mm.
ecstatic experiences. And 10% on the low end had traumatic experiences. But that 80% was all really what you could call benign,
Hmm.
in the sense of no physical pain, no trauma, no fear. So
So are those like actual extraterrestrial um, contact compared to, let's say, that 10% or 20%? Would that be more my lab, which is like
well,
military abductions?
that is the worst possible stuff that's going on.
Yes.
And the worst, most heinous, torturous, egregious things that I have ever heard about, some things that made me just almost lose it myself just in the hearing of them,
Hmm.
were all at the hands of MELAB, human, and maybe not so nicely intentioned ETs and their research
Right.
projects and their technologies and blah blah blah. Like
Hmm.
I was saying, we don't need any help being horrible to ourselves.
No,
We
No.
are heinous
we
to
are.
Hmm.
ourselves.
We are.
And so I've got to tell you that these MELAB experiences, I mean, that's in a whole nother. I don't always include that
Right.
with experiencers per se, because I
Hmm.
don't want people to think that it is a common thing.
Right.
It's still sort of in a rarity, but
Hmm.
those poor individuals who have been through those kinds of programs, it's like the worst PTSD that you could imagine.
Hmm.
And some of them are really veterans. They were in service. And
I
so,
know at least a handful of people,
oh, yes. And
and
so
you're right, 100%.
it's shameful. Because of this BS secrecy,
Right.
and we have many, many, many veterans who have survived incredible things,
Hmm.
who have no respect, no support, and
Hmm.
are disacknowledged,
Hmm.
you know.
Right. Right. So why do you think that they're targeted?
Well, that's an interesting thing. A lot of the MELAB peeps, or a lot of the individuals that have been involved in the secret space program in general, have come from military families.
Right.
And now I can't speak for the entire US, but I've worked with a number of Canadian experiencers
Hmm.
whose either the father or the mother or the both were involved
Hmm.
with some of these programs that were going on in what we call the DO line, which
Hmm.
is they're
Oh.
still there. These are military bases that are Canadian and US cooperative. I mean, they're co-run,
Hmm.
and the purpose was they came out of the Cold War so that we would be able to see the missiles coming from Russia. And
Right.
that's why that's the cover story anyway.
Right.
So
Right.
we do find a lot of these individuals do come from military families. And if that's not the case, they also have sometimes they have a profile of very high intelligence, or
Right.
high
Yes.
PSI abilities, and some of that stuff can be traced, generationally. And
Hmm.
remember, you have some, sort of amoral ETs involved with some of this stuff. Now, the really brutal things that aside from the Me Lab, we're just going to put the Me Lab aside for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
second.
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
as far as abductions, and I will call these abductions, we're talking about, the kinds of activities that emanated from the Truman Agreement after the Roswell crash,
Yeah.
where the Zeta Reticulites were allowed to harvest our DNA to reinvigorate their reproduction, and many hybrid children were seen and created. Many young women had overtaken in painful ways. Sperm was taken,
Mhm.
all the time. So it's all of this did happen. However, it's my belief, and many other ufologists concur with this, that this particular agreement, the Truman Eisenhower agreement,
Mm.
timed out. And so the individuals that come to me who have had those type of, I'm going to call them reproductive kind of
Yeah.
experiments and such, they have to be of a certain age, because we really don't see them occurring anymore into the 90s, and maybe even part of the 80s. So
Wow.
it's a thing that did happen, but it timed out, and the Zeta Reticulites were either made to stop or honored their agreement. Cats, they're deeply involved still with us.
I
So,
Right.
didn't know that.
yeah, they're deeply involved with us still. And for any of your wonderful viewers and listeners who are interested in that particular time in history, there's an excellent book called The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip Corso.
Hmm.
And it is a wonderful first person journey through those early days where that pact occurred, and the beginnings of the first whisperings of the secret space program occurred then, when we were given ET technology.
Yeah, I've heard of the book. Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay, so let's talk about. I've heard people say that implants is something that military would do, that ET really doesn't need to implant you. Have you found that in your hypnosis with people talking about that?
Oh yes, you know what I
Are you
mean.
in agreement?
I am in some agreement to that. I absolutely am, because I think that, at least with some of the people that I've worked with, they have received implants in their etheric body. In other
Mm.
words, not physical ones, and
Oh.
the main purpose being to act kind of like a step-up transformer to enhance, the ability to communicate telepathically, because telepathic communication is primarily what's happening.
Mm.
Beings are communicating at the speed of thought
Just
from
Mhm.
anywhere in the galaxy or the universe. The speed of
Right.
thought is instantaneous. It's
mhm.
not bound by space time, and it appears to be, although many beings can speak and do, but it appears to be the international language and
Of choice
the
sort of thing.
diplomatic language, in the way that French
Yes.
was 200 years ago. But to
Right.
do that and to engage with humans and involve them in activities and projects, you kind of need to find um, the humans with the most psychic ability, so
Mhm.
it's easiest.
Mm.
And so I think a lot of this, following generations. I mean, I have people I work with whose mothers were taken, and fathers and siblings, and going back probably to the grandparents. And sometimes these experiences, depending on how far back you go with the old folks, they get interpreted as kind of biblical or demonic experiences,
Mm.
because that's their realm of understand, where they were taken by little devils. And I mean, because that's their frame of reference would be,
Yes.
this Pentecostal kind of Christian religious
Mhm.
point of view.
Right. Yes. Yes. Um,
Wow.
what
That's why I've never been taken, Michelle, because I'm just not psychic enough.
No. Oh
I'm
God.
she's
teasing.
in
I'm being
denial
facetious.
about being
I'm being
taken, that
facetious.
is. So,
No, I'm
um,
just yeah.
so in hypnotizing people, there's a lot out there with respects to having, a space fleet, like, the Solar Warden, all of this. There's so much with the exopolitics
Mhm.
things. Have you ever hypnotized anybody who's been involved in that? Whether it's from a soldier standpoint, whether it's from someone who's been taken off world to serve, whether
Oh
because
boy,
there's books being written
so
everywhere.
many,
Oh wow,
Michelle,
okay, there we
so
go. Okay,
many.
okay,
I would have to point as the person who first began really giving me this information, and a very good friend is Captain Randy Kramer, who's
okay,
known as Captain K,
okay,
sometimes, and he was an individual who participated in what they call the 20 and back, where he was uh, basically well, again, here we had a military household. The father was in the military. So
right.
again, and so he began experiencing missing time and began sort of training as a cadet, as a teenager. And
Hmm,
this would happen at school where, there would be a note to the teacher and he'd get up and he'd go outside and get in some kind of vehicle and then perhaps be in a training craft or whatever. So this began as a teenager. Now he feels that that his DNA was enhanced because of his mother's proximity to the bases and the labs and the what have you. Not that the
okay,
mother necessarily agreed to it or that the
right.
father even knew about it, but he
Wow.
thinks there's a strong possibility because the IQ is extremely high. Eidetic memory, he has a lot of
Right.
Oh,
things that are quite exceptional from our point of view,
Hmm.
um, from a person who has a high school education.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
so Randy Kramer, he eventually there was a point where he was accepted or offered to sign on for his tour of duty, the 20 and back, which simply meant that he would serve for 20 years. And then at the end of that 20-year period, they would be able to move him in the timeline back to being a 19-year-old teenager living at home.
Okay. Yes, I
Okay.
remember the story. Yes.
So this
Okay.
is and this
Yes,
whenever you hear 20 and back,
that's
this
what
is
it
what
is.
it refers to, this process that was
Wow.
used and has been used.
Okay.
So Randy was very excited and he signed on. He's like, a teenager, 19 or whatever, and he
Hmm.
has incredible details about how they got into one of these oh, the T3W, the giant triangles. They're
Yes.
ours. They're not an ET thing.
Yes.
And so he
Okay.
got into one of the giant triangles with all the other cadets, and they had a kind of metal that you could see through. It was controlled. So, and I've heard this on ET crafts too. So this is technology that
Right.
exists in real
so
time. So this,
Wonder
they're
Woman's visible plane is not that.
not
No.
that far. No, not that far off at all. Not that far off at all.
Unbelievable how many
Really.
superheroes connect. Like you're saying, 19 years old, Captain America,
Yeah.
never aged. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah. Okay.
Well, that's our ideas or thoughts are floating around out there and people grab them. And
Mm.
creative
Hmm.
people grab any thoughts that are out there. And that's why you see all this coincidental stuff because these things are actually happening on some level
Right.
in some
Wow.
way. So anyway, so Randy Kramer, he's a cadet and he is trained as a both a pilot and a combat soldier. And the
Mm.
first place he is stationed is on, moon base, which he says everything was very old, like it had been there since the 50s. Right? I mean, like Quonset hut. He said it was
Yeah.
amazing at how,
Primitive.
industrial,
Yeah.
military 1950s
Hmm.
it looked. He said it wasn't like there. I mean, there was high tech stuff underground and what have you, but the actual facility itself was 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 basically 1950s. So he talked about that being trained for combat. Boy, he talked about learning the use of a skill called psionics, which is an advanced. It's a kind of remote viewing, but it's also a way to project an illusion. So
Mm.
it's very involved. But so he was trained. So you had to have psychic abilities to do that. Not
Hmm.
everybody. do that. So they use machines and stuff and blah blah blah, but he was trained to become a guy that was proficient at psionics.
Wow.
So and then he also talked about, I remember, about when you get ready to go into battle. And now the battles that he talked about were on Mars. So there's Mars base,
Hmm.
and he was primarily stationed on Mars base, where there are reptilian civilizations that some we have treaties with, and some are just nasty and
Hmm.
just so that's why there have to be actual military forces on Mars, or that was the case. So he said they had these suits, these for engaging in combat, that would um, somehow magically release amphetamines and other magical chemicals into your system, so
Hmm.
that you would be in fighting mode. So I mean, it's some of it. So he's told me
Like
some very.
endorphins.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes, a cocktail. You
Yeah.
would get a cocktail that would allow you to go out there and do that job and still be completely cognizant.
Wow.
And it's just, incredible science
Hmm.
fiction stuff. And he was out there so long. He was married. He to a fellow soldier, and there was a horrific battle, and I'm not even going to bother to describe it, but his wife was killed, and just about everybody else, with the by some very vicious reptilians. So on Mars, apparently living underground. But I do think that. But he also said that on Mars, which by the way does have an atmosphere, it's been doctored to make it look like it doesn't, but it does have an atmosphere. They've been terraforming, since the 50s.
There has
And
to be for Musk to be going up there and spending
oh yeah,
all that money. There has to be.
there are trillions and trillions of dollars missing from the U.S. Treasury because of these
Yeah.
projects. So, at any rate, you can, when you first get there, apparently you need to take oxygen. It's like being up very high, like if you were
Yeah.
up in the
Being
mountains.
Pikes Peak
Yeah,
in
so
Hmm.
Colorado.
you can adapt to it, and then you
Yep.
do after a while. And he said, Randy also said, and also other experiencers who've been stationed on Mars independently of Randy have told me that there are many ruins that look very much like, Egyptian,
Hmm.
ancient Sumerian. Well, of course, Mars
Right.
was a way, Mars was a way station for the
Hmm.
transport of gold until the atmosphere was ripped away. So
Right.
there's absolutely no question that there would be, um,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, it makes sense that you could
ruins,
travel
like
to it.
yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
sure. Now, was he did he go under hypnosis for
Well,
all this, or was he allowed to remember?
not with me. I believe
Okay.
that he did have some hypnosis, but it was almost like once certain doors were opened,
Mhm.
everything flooded back. But the toughest time for him, and he's discussed all. I'm not telling these secrets. He's discussed all of
Yes,
this on
yes.
We
coast to
know that.
coast and everywhere. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the toughest time for him was apparently. Um, when he was sent back after the 20 and back, and he woke up in his teenage bedroom,
Oh,
and felt like completely bizarre, but didn't know why. And
right.
so there was
Crazy.
a lot of traumatic aftermath from that. Because he was in battle, the traumatic things that he saw, and there was a lot of fallout, which in his case involved a lot of drug use in his late
Mhm.
teens. He was
Right.
just trying to feel normal. I mean,
Normal,
you
and
know,
yeah, without explaining, it makes you wonder how many people have been in that, similar situation or
God,
exact situation.
I think millions.
I
Really?
wonder if
I
they
do.
experience a constant sense of deja vu because of it.
I
Boy.
think that I think that many of these people are waking up and beginning to wake up. And the reason why I say this is if they were involved in a government program, apparently the government programs involving the 20 and back, they only developed a memory block, if you will, that could last for 20 years. Which is
Oh,
one of the reasons why
they're waking up.
I'm having like a surge of people
Right.
coming to see me who have been involved in these diverse programs
Mhm.
and are actually only now starting to wake up. They're having
Mhm.
dreams, or maybe they even have like some consciously recalled memories. But the memory there, it's my opinion that there is no memory block that can last indefinitely unless you're talking about organic damage.
And
The heart,
they're sorry.
go ahead. That's
No,
all.
no, you're our guest.
No, I was just saying, the physical brain that we have is the hard drive. The
Right.
hard
Mhm.
drive can be damaged, but that's not what we're talking about here. It's some
Mhm.
other kind of technology that has interfered probably with the chemical ability of memories to adhere to neurons. That's my guess. But
Right.
Okay.
whatever they're doing, it only lasts for 20 years.
Do you
So,
Right.
yeah.
do you think maybe perhaps because we are living longer, they're seeing more people wake up?
Well, these people aren't old,
No, no,
who are waking up.
I mean
Oh,
like in the 50s they may have tried this and it was okay because they were starting at an older age perhaps, and then they weren't living really long between cigarettes and heart
boy, who
disease
knows?
and all
Who
that stuff. And
knows?
now we're humans are living a lot longer because we're healthier and we're doing more to
Well,
take care of ourselves. I wonder if that's why there's so many people that are snapping out of this so
Mhm.
well, I think
quickly.
I would say that they always, for these programs, they pick people who are superb physical specimens, and they have access to every kind of health enhancement when they're serving,
Mhm.
that they
Mhm.
can have. So I'm not sure longevity. I just think it's 20 years. That's just what it is. So say for instance, someone like Randy Kramer, he was, let's see, 19, so 29, 39. That makes a lot of sense. That's when he began really waking up.
Mhm.
It took that long, and sometimes things still come back to him. So
It's
That's
sad because
terrible.
he had a life, a spouse, like everything just ripped out from under him
And
basically. S
yeah, and
yes.
how do they deal with the spouse and like if they're engaged at the time or if there's other
Mhm.
people, do they wipe out all of their memories too? Like
Or
It's individual and it's an agreed upon thing. It's not an enforced thing. It's the
right.
idea that you're giving us 20 years, but you're getting them back.
yes,
Right.
but
And when
how
you're
does
not,
everybody else deal with it? That's what I'm saying, like your family.
well, what ends up happening is most of these people are coming back into 19-year-old bodies, and they're probably pretty difficult to live with anyway. So I
Well,
don't think there are very many parents
the
that
parents
probably,
are have aged those
yeah.
19 like those 20 years and
They're fooling with the timeline.
okay,
Nobody's
so
aged it.
then
Mm,
it's still the same. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
it's
Yeah,
okay,
right.
now I
Got
understand.
it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
everybody is,
Okay.
it's just like
It's a timeline.
It's just like
Yeah.
Back to the Future. They
Right.
have the
Okay. I get it.
technology
Right. Right.
to move the timeline and to regress you and put you back into your own correct chronomatic
Can
situation.
can you
Right.
get rid of them because I will. Call me daft one more
Um,
time, Mark. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
I know. I know.
We can't all be as smart as you are.
I
But
know.
anyways,
Okay.
sometimes I can't hold back. Thank you.
Okay. We're just going to delete that one too.
Oh man,
Some
who are
people
these
can't play nice in the
people?
schoolyard. There.
Why are they getting
You
so upset? All I'm
I
doing
Oh,
don't
it I'm not
no, you're
all
not getting upset at you. He was upset at me because I
no.
said people are living longer.
Yes. Are
well,
you deaf?
they are living longer. They are, and these
In some
programs,
cases.
No, he's comparing my comment to the Bible of
oh,
700 years. Let's not go there. It's like
okay.
Well, it's a little bit different. The ancients did in some cases
The
live
ancients are,
longer. It
that's a
makes you,
different
They had
discussion.
that's a whole other show though.
they had special DNA, and if you look at
Exactly.
the Sumerian procession of kingship, it starts
Exactly.
out with guys that ruled for like 25,000 years, and then it goes down
Yeah.
and down and down
Yeah.
and down as they
Oh my gosh.
mix with the
So
locals, you know.
I'm open to everything and I
Hmm.
respect everybody's opinions, but when I'm getting called names, I have an issue with it. Because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you need to just stand down because you're
Oh,
misinterpreting my comment.
what if they
Um,
die in service? That's an interesting
Oh,
question.
Wayne. Yes.
yes.
Hi, Wayne.
So how do
Yeah,
they get their 20 years back
You
promised?
know,
Yeah.
they don't. They
Yeah.
don't. They do not. There
that's
Yeah.
are,
a risk.
however, I will say this, that, and this is very far out. And again, I'm not making this stuff. These are things people are telling me.
Right.
So, several of the experiencers that I've been involved in these programs have told me that when they sign on, when they go on to
Mhm.
serve, they take 3 cloned bodies with them.
Right.
And these bodies are used to harvest body parts should they need them.
Right.
And they also have technology, apparently, where they can transfer consciousness from.
I've always said it. Everybody thinks I'm a dang conspiracy theorist.
No, they have the technology where they can, and
Right.
Randy Kramer has described it to me, where they can, transfer the consciousness which exists in a kind of cerebral fluid,
Mhm.
and transfer it into a healthy body. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
even if somebody has been severely injured on the battlefield,
Yeah.
there is rarely a death. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Right. Because
I
they could
don't,
just change it over.
oddly, I don't think that situation comes up very often.
Right. Right.
It does happen, but it's certainly not an everyday thing. And then I suppose I can't imagine, if I talk to Randy again, I'll ask him that. I can't imagine what the quantum fallout is from that. I don't really know.
Right. Right.
Oh, that makes sense why he was so upset.
Um, can okay,
He's
here's another
military.
question. Another question from Wayne. Amelia, do you have this one or do you want me
Yes,
to?
I do. Sorry, I had to check that. Wayne asks, I've had dreams of a place like Mars and it's a futuristic war-torn place. So could these dreams actually be suppressed memories?
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, they could. What you're describing is very much like what has been seen on Mars by the individuals that I have worked with who have had that experience. And
Mm.
you know what I would do? If this is something you'd be open to, I would give myself a suggestion before going to sleep that I will remember more details about this experience. And
Oh, he gets them vividly.
you can phrase it any way you wish, and I would say it to myself, or you say it to yourself,
Mhm.
about 5 times before you go to sleep. And
Mhm.
then keep a pad right by your bed in case you wake up in the middle of the night, or in case you wanna write it down in the morning, and you may be very surprised at how much detail begins to come back, because if it's coming up in your dreams, if it's punching a hole in your subconscious,
It
it's
is.
trying to come out.
Yes, that's what he
That's
says.
what I believe as
I don't know
well.
if I'm still in service. Dang it, Wayne.
Eh,
Maybe.
I I I can't answer that. I only know 2 people who
Yeah.
have had this experience, who still have a military connection, where they are being encouraged to be whistleblowers.
Wow, that's
Where
fascinating.
there is some aspect of the government that wants everything to come out.
So would be like screen
Wow.
memory, staging, like are is that stuff intentionally put into someone's memory, let's say, or psyche for that reason? Do you think, or is that something entirely different?
Are you talking about the memory that your listener just shared? Is that what you mean?
Let's look at that one as an example. Sure.
Well, I think that that dream seems very specific. He's aware that it's a foreign landscape, the dystopian nature
Oh,
of what
he's seen the red sand. He's described all that, like the
yeah,
red,
so
yeah, all
so
of it.
to
Yeah,
me, what that represents is an actual physical experience, not a
right,
because the subconscious, yes, we have imagination, but it basically is a truthful type of part of our brain and doesn't recognize time. It doesn't know the difference between past, present, and future.
right.
But he would be probably about the age where things might be
Mm-hmm.
trying to come back. I would so just like I said, there's no
Mm-hmm.
harm in encouraging yourself to remember some more things.
Right.
And if you feel there's a preponderance, then you can take it further.
Wayne,
Yeah.
I'll give you a ride. He said he needs to come and see
He,
you. I'll drive him.
he's he's had
Actually, you have
these
to drive by
dreams
my house.
for a long time, and they're very vivid. I told him to keep a
Mm,
log,
yeah,
so it's they're very very vivid.
His dreams are very vivid.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe it.
He's an
Um,
amazing writer as well.
and he
Hmm.
does have, because we share a house, extraterrestrial activity. There's a lot of
I bet.
extraterrestrial activity here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, there is. There's tons of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I personally think that there's an underwater base in Lake Ontario.
Oh, there is.
More than
And,
one.
Yeah.
probably more than one. And,
Yeah.
did you gals see that I don't know if you were watching this, even the news, but there were 2 UFOs that clearly appeared when the Queen was being honored with the
Yes.
airplanes. Did you see that?
Yes.
No,
So
I'm so fixated on Prince Louis that
I
you did
know.
well,
No, it's
you
true.
can
Yeah.
look, it's I
They
think it's,
looked right up and saw them right in the middle
yep,
of the day.
wow.
there
Well,
were
I
Yeah.
believe
2.
it because her husband was very, very
Yeah,
interested
Into it.
in.
Yeah.
He
he
was very
was.
upset when he had the first men on Mars, on the moon, and they were just trying to ask him questions, and he just wanted to know if they saw any like, how did you see any aliens? And he
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
disappointed with that
Yeah.
visit because they didn't really talk much about it.
No,
And
they weren't allowed to. But yeah,
no,
Prince Philip had a huge interest in ufology, so I kind of think that he had something to do with that maybe. At
Oh,
you
some
never
maybe
on
know,
some
that
right?
was
level.
his day.
On
Yeah.
some
Somehow,
level.
yeah, because without him she wouldn't have been able to
Mm.
well, that's a whole other show, but anyway.
So we've got some questions coming up, and I don't know if this is
Okay.
something you can even answer. Michael Kennedy has asked on a couple of questions. I'm just looking for it to pop up here for you, Amelia.
There's a few of them, yeah. I don't know.
Okay, here we go. We'll start with that one. Go
Okay,
ahead.
this one's good. Michael Kenny asks, it seems like ufologists are divided on the topic of cattle mutilation.
Mutilations,
Yeah.
and this was the first part of that question.
It seems like you follow and
He's blaming
people.
autocorrect, so just go through
Yeah,
it.
I'm going to bear with me.
Yeah.
That study this phenomenon are separated by the concept of cattle mutilation. I'm interested in Leslie's opinion. Same
Okay.
question. Okay.
On cattle mutilations, I guess. Okay.
Well, I am at a loss with this phenomena, and I've discussed this with Linda Moulton Howe, who is probably one of the foremost experts on this phenomena. Um, I have the feeling, though, that anything this brutal would have to do with us.
Right. I agree
I
with you.
think so too.
I
I
mean, it
do.
just looks like they're conducting some kind of experiments. Who knows what they're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have no way of knowing. I know that the animals become very agitated before the phenomena happen. So that
Hmm.
says to me, some kind of
They're intuitive.
EMF and emanations, or there's some kind of technology involved. And again, this could be part of a genetic research this could be, there could be some grays involved too. I mean,
Yeah.
why not? That
Hmm.
wouldn't be beyond them. They
The
seem
government? No.
some of them seem to be
All
quite
government. Yeah.
compassionless, but I tend to think that it is a government program, a secret government program, and
I agree.
possibly involving a collaboration with ETs as well.
I
Yeah.
agree with you on that one because
Hmm.
the animal rights activists would be right up there if they knew for sure
Yeah.
that the government had anything to do with that, and
Oh
they
my
would
God.
never be able to move.
Yeah.
Michael's also asking, I would also like Leslie's opinion on what the petroglyphs of the anarchy are carrying
Anunnaki is
that
what he's trying to
look
say.
Oh,
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki
the little
Yeah.
purses.
Yes.
are carrying satchels or buckets. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call them mini Dolces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the mini Dolce and Gabbana
The
purses.
cute
That's what they
little
look like.
purses.
Yeah.
Well, they refer to these little bags, or in some of the translations by Zacharias Sitchin, they refer to them as carrying the waters of life.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not sure what that means, but it certainly is a symbol of their superiority and their deification in a sense to the beings that they had, genetically
Hmm.
upgraded.
Hmm.
Um, it may have been some type of something that was like a medical kit.
Hmm.
The waters of life may have actually been a reviving substance, a sophisticated, medically sophisticated reviving
Hmm.
substance that they all carried.
Right.
I think all of these things have been speculated, but we can certainly accept that whatever it was it was a distinctive symbol of
Hmm.
their superiority and their status as gods to be carrying the waters of life. And also the wristbands are also interesting.
Yes.
Were they was that technology? Was that, beam me up, Scotty? I mean, what?
Yeah. We're going to talk about
Right.
beaming us up in 1 second after our station and sponsor ID, please.
Absolutely. You are listening to Out of the Realm with Michelle DeRoche and myself, Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio. Tonight, we have our favorite lady in the house,
Mm,
Lesley Mitchell Clarke, is with us. Stream or listen to our archives on the platform you normally use if you missed this show. Shout out and thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one. We love you and we thank you so much. Shout out and huge thank you for our intro and outro, our friend Justin Snicker, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp and find him on Facebook and Instagram.
There we
Now we can go back.
go. So let's
Yes.
talk beaming us up. When you're dealing with ET, are we dealing with an organic being? Are we dealing with AI? Are we dealing with a hologram? How are they just like come into your boudoir at night when it's supposed to be your
She's a little
safe
pissed.
space, right? I'm a little get ornery about that. Your
little
little
pissed.
safe space, and they're
hmm.
just like there, aggravating the dogs and everything else.
Oh yeah. Well, I think there can be a few different things going on. Now,
Okay.
certainly when people are being taken from a young age. In fact, I'm always saying that I don't think there is such a thing as an
Right.
experiencer who's had only one experience. I don't think it
I
works like
agree.
that. But
Yeah.
so when children are taken, these experiences seem to be very, very physical in the sense, and sometimes beings bring a kind of a wand. I've heard, and grays are almost they're the grays that come and take people aboard are kind of like minions. They're not
Right.
always really fully biological beings, but they
Okay.
often do the schlepping, as we say.
Right,
So
right.
sometimes these
The
beings come in,
schleps, I like
the
that.
schlepping,
Right.
and they have a kind of a wand that seems to open a vortice. So they are able to travel um, uh, through some transpo technology,
Hmm.
Wow.
and then they can come into the room. They're usually very physical. They are usually able to paralyze the child or the individual, sometimes with just a touch on the forehead. And then many people report as children being flown out, through the roof or through a wall, because apparently this same technology that opens the vortice can do something to the molecules
Hmm.
for a physical body or being to pass through. And it's
Fascinating.
just, everything has a vibration. It's just a question of adjusting it. Everything has a vibration. So
Mhm.
in that case, they would maybe speed up the vibration of the wall, so it would be fluid. When you, I
Mhm.
don't know, but many of these experiences in the early years are very very physical, where
Mhm.
kids are out playing with their friends, a craft lands, and someone comes up and guides them in, and then they're brought back and they're right back in the same place, and the friends are right there, and it's as if no time has passed. So this is we see a lot of real physical encounters, and also the kids that are taken aboard craft do physical things usually.
Right.
Usually they're learning all manner of things that they looks like a bunch of Rubik's cubes sometimes. I mean, they're learning about being telekinetic, putting puzzles together. They have stuff that they do,
Mhm.
and I think then kids that just aren't up to snuff just get weeded out of the program.
Mhm.
Is kind of probably what happens. So it's very physical in the beginning. Now, what we seem to see happening as people approach midlife, and maybe Wes discussed this with you, the experiences seem to become much more etheric,
Mhm.
much more like astral projection, if you will,
Right.
where you are a participant in whatever's going on a craft or in a program, and while your physical third density self is carrying on, you can project yourself into an environment where you're collaborating with other beings, and they can see you and feel you and
Mhm.
communicate with you.
Mhm.
So, and this seems to be not an uncommon way for beings to collaborate. Again, not everybody explores space in a craft.
Mhm.
And there are beings that just project themselves, and sometimes sort of holographically. They
Right.
don't leave their planet, but they engage in
Mhm.
all the and they project themselves. So for us, for not for me, but excuse me,
Mhm.
for the people that I'm working with that are in this type of program, there seems to be a big shift around midlife where the experiences are not strictly physical. They're
Right.
far more spiritual, if you will, but the body that individuals are astral projecting with. I almost call it a psychophysical body because I'm not sure it's as
Mhm.
light or diaphanous as like the soul when it leaves a living body.
Right.
I think it
Right.
may be more. I think we may have several, and I'm sure the Buddhists and various
Mhm.
people in spiritual disciplines probably will concur with that. I think we have several bodies,
Mhm.
not just the
Right.
physical and not just our soul. I think
Right.
the etheric body is somewhere in between, and we can travel in it and with it, and it can appear solid.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, actually. Um, do you think, I mean, we're in troubled times for many. Do you think with all the changes on the horizon, a lot of contactees basically feel that they're actually asking for ET to intervene? Do you think that's something that they're going to do?
Well, I think there's so much going on in partnership right
Yeah.
now, but I also think that there is a kind of a prime directive, not
Mhm.
unlike Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, where that we have to kind of do it for ourselves. Do believe that they would stop nuclear destruction because they've turned
Yeah,
stuff
they've
off
done that.
before. They
Yes,
do that.
They would have to, because
they've
I
done
can't
that.
imagine no there isn't a leader that one time did it without.
Mhm.
Well, I think
I don't know.
many evolved civilizations have passed through this nuclear age and suffered
Mhm.
destruction. I think it's a very it's like, a toddler with a blowtorch. I mean, it's
Right?
Yeah.
very precarious kind
Yeah,
of time. So
yeah.
I
Who
think
left the
that
Yeah.
they
kids
would
alone?
I
Yeah.
think that they have
Mm,
volunteered again and again under different regimes like Valiant
right.
Thor
Yeah.
and tried to help and have been, rejected because of greed and fear. Now,
Well,
what you know the what is going to have to what is going to have to change is the way is a fossil fuel based economy.
Right.
This is, if we're going to save our earth, it's two things, well, it's
Hmm.
more than two things, but that we have to make those changes. Now, there are wonderful forward thinking people, but
Hmm.
it's very tough to battle, the old robber barons, the oil barons. I mean, this
Right.
Hmm.
this kind of financial elitism is part
Hmm.
and parcel of our greedy third density world.
One
Well, you'd be
percenters.
bankrupting all kinds of really, really, really super rich generational families in the
Indeed,
Middle East.
you
But
would.
lithium, I don't agree with lithium either, though. I think lithium batteries tapping into the earth is this just as crazy as, as the
Oh
oil. I
yeah, well,
don't
there's a lot of
understand.
stupid stuff. There's a lot of
Yeah,
there's a lot of stupid stuff going on. I mean, we could have free energy just like the ancient Sumerians did. We could
just like
have
Tesla
free
wanted.
earth energy. We could have it now.
Could have had it with Nikola Tesla, but
Yeah,
powers
Absolutely.
that
that's
be
what he
The
just
only
would
wanted.
the
not
only
allow it.
reason that we do
Yeah.
not
No.
have it is the greed factor, and they even make it difficult to, like, my sister was telling me, she recently completely solar paneled her, her roof, which I think,
Right.
in LA, that's something you could do.
Yes.
Here, not so much. But anyway,
Yes.
so she did that, and she was just like taxed and permits, and they made it as
Hard.
difficult and as expensive as it could
It's
possibly be.
just like electric cars. A normal
Yeah.
person cannot afford a Tesla. A Tesla
No.
starts at 100,000
I'd
Canadian. I
like
mean,
one. I don't. I have a Ford
yeah.
Focus.
Yeah, that's okay. I hear Ford's coming out with one for only 70,000, Leslie. You're
Only
good.
Mm,
70,000
Only
means.
70.
Yeah,
That or you could
mm,
drive a BMW. But like,
that's
it's
right.
like they make it so that you have no choice but to pick the fossil fuels because most people can't afford to drive something like that. Or
mm,
if they have that firm, belief that I have to drive an electric vehicle, I can't do it. I can't do the
Mhm.
fossil fuel thing, then they go in debt. So it's always a win-win for that side,
mhm,
Well, it
right?
has been, but I think that a shift is coming, and that will be the big change. And remember that if it's handled in the right way, there will be enough jobs for anyone who's working in the oil industry to begin to establish these free
mhm,
energy projects. I mean, just the infrastructure of them.
mhm.
Yeah.
The economy has to shift. Every person has to have a living wage. Children have to be fed. I mean, these are like, whoa, especially in America. Oh my God, the idea
Mhm.
of us as human beings, caring for each other. So we have a lot of stuff that is of our own making that is preventing open contact in the way we would like to see it. And
Well,
the message I keep hearing from all these experiences and all these different types of ETs is
mhm,
clean up your own backyard.
right.
You can start with food too, because fast food is cheaper
Mhm.
and easier for most families. They can't afford to eat well. So there's much disease and there's a lot
That's
of
right. So low
it's terrible.
people in a low economic level are eating bad food and suffering from diabetes and heart
Mhm.
disease and all those other terrible things that go
Yeah,
with it. And you know what they did this is something that's been starting to happen in Australia. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia were experiencing huge high rates, just like our native peoples are, of diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. I mean, like through the roof. So they began a project where they reforested their lands with the original plant life
Yeah.
that they had enjoyed for thousands of years before, and literally restored the diet that they as a people had been enjoying for thousands of
good
years
for
previous.
them.
And you know what has happened then? Heart rate stabilized, cancer rates plummet, diabetes gone.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
food is medicine.
So
And
basically, we're
it's
going back to the basics, getting away from the poison and taking care of ourselves, emotionally, spiritually, physically. We have to be at that point to communicate with these exceptional races of ETs.
Well, I think I think a lot of communication goes on. I think that's something we're doing and ready for and have been, but I
Mhm.
think that they have a lot of compassion for us.
Right.
And I think that we are also very genetically tied to some of the beings that visit us, particularly from the Lyran system and the Pleiadians. I mean,
Mhm.
many of these, from what I'm hearing, many of these beings who were like our cousins, they can pass. They're
Mhm.
here. They're
Right.
walking around. They're going to ufology conventions. They're,
Right, right.
they're
I
out and
believe it.
about.
I
So,
Mhm.
believe it. Yeah.
it's we're not alone and we have never been alone.
Right.
And I think that there is a kind of a parental feeling of many of the beings that
Mhm.
are highly evolved, and they want so much for us. But we have such a I think I think that's why the Earth is known kind of as the grand experiment, because of the diversity of and the different levels
Mhm.
of development of life that we have on the planet. I'm not talking
Mhm.
about the animal life. They're all perfect for what they are. I'm talking about human evolution.
Humans. Yeah.
We have people that are like Cro-Magnons, and then we have, beautiful evolved souls as
Mhm.
well, and we're all sharing the same planet. And
Mhm.
what happens when say a chunk of humanity begins to oscillate in the fourth dimension?
Mhm.
Do we simply move on to another timeline that doesn't involve the more retrograde humans?
Right. Well,
That
that's
sounded
part of
that sounded
the
awful, but
evolution.
you know what I'm
No,
No,
but
talking
it's
about.
true.
I
It's
understood you
evolution.
completely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
People have to evolve somewhere. I don't
yeah.
know that you can fully evolve in the way
In the
things
third
are
in
right
the
now.
third density, I
Yeah.
don't it has to be a
Yeah.
a thing, and of course, many of us, both of you, dear ladies, included, have chosen to be here at this very exciting time, and we
Apparently.
are the midwives of disclosure. We're also talking to, clearing the planet of spirits that haven't been able to move ahead. I mean, we're doing
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff,
Right.
Yeah.
and,
I'm pretty sure I put in small print. I don't want to come back though.
well, you probably won't I don't feel like I'd probably want to, but, the
I'm a
thing about
warrior. I'll keep 2. I'll take one for the team, ladies. I'll do it.
and the
I've been
thing
here
about
enough times.
physical experience, from what I hear, is it speeds up, development,
Right.
because of the ways that we are challenged here,
Right.
and because when you're living in a spiritual dimension, there is no hatred and, nastiness and evil,
Mm.
but we're here mucking about. And there are
Mhm.
levels below this, I believe. I
Mhm.
believe that there are levels of existence,
Right.
dangerous elementals, and God knows what.
Thanks, Wayne. Wayne Murphy
Run
said,
into
run
the
into
wind.
the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm gonna do that. I do that like outside here.
Mhm.
Michael
Um,
Kennedy has another question. He's got great questions. Is Lesley familiar with the 100 monkey concept, where basically a mass consciousness and population can snap evolve?
mm,
I've never heard of that.
no.
I have heard of it, and I think it's possible.
Mhm.
And who's to say it hasn't happened in whole communities, maybe, that just transition in some way at the same time.
Mhm.
I you know I hate to ever say that something isn't possible, because the longer I live on this planet, and the more people I encounter and listen to them,
Mhm.
the more I feel like I know nothing.
No, you just take Randy for an example. It's so hard to. I mean, if something like that can happen, then I mean, sky's the limit. I think anything can happen. You
We
know.
have been we have been victimized as human beings for many years
Mhm.
by this expensive intergovernment secret space program. We've been denied technology that could save lives.
Mhm.
It's the list of of these traitorous
Mhm.
activities is long, and I kind of personally think that the only way that some of the real truth is going to come out is that anybody who is living, yet living, be given amnesty. to
Mm,
discuss these things, because the people that put this all together, and they're either dead or they're very old men and women,
right.
and they're patriotic, and they believe or have convinced themselves that they were doing the right thing for their country, and they signed the oath of allegiance, and they will not talk
Mm,
unless there is some type of release from that secretive from that pact of secrecy.
right.
So otherwise, I think we just have to change things as we see them, and the first thing to do is to move on behalf of our planet and nature, which includes changing the financial system and doing away with carbon-based.
So basically,
Fuels.
you're the whole one world order sort of thing. I'm not in disagreement with one world order, the one world order, new world order. I believe that, you know, it's very difficult to see. So, I mean, nobody can get along.
Mm.
How can we get along with anybody else if we can't get along with ourselves? I think there needs to be a governing body, but a proper governing body. Not everybody who's vying into
Oh
position for
yeah,
the
well, it's
spot.
show. It's in America, politics are show business.
Oh,
So it's
Oh, even here, we're getting like that here as well.
yeah,
oh
it's
yeah. I
true.
mean,
It's true. So there's a
yeah.
we can't take very
One
much
world
of this seriously.
currency makes sense. We should all
I'm
be
cool
paying
with
the
it.
same thing.
Everybody
You
deserves a
know.
living wage, and I tell you, I think that in reality, it has been a one world government for a long time
Oh,
without
I
us
think so
shadow
too.
government people.
without
Yes,
us being
Yes,
being
absolutely.
made aware of it. So
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Well,
it's
some of
And
us are
nothing.
very aware of it, and just nobody wants to
That's
hear
right.
it.
no,
So
but
it's
everyone who's talking about New World Order, I don't think that they ever take into consideration that there's going to be another government behind that. Don't you think
Always.
that
Yeah.
you will always know who these people are? You will never know.
Right.
Well,
Well,
I
that's
think
true.
we have to be maybe, a little bit more optimistic, but the crusty old men who have been controlling all the money have
Hmm.
to go. And that's just what is going to happen to save our civilization, I think.
I think it'd be a start.
It would be a good start. It would be a good
It would
start.
be.
Yeah, I'm
Amelia, do you
not
want to
as
get this one?
optimistic. Yes, absolutely. Michael says Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, and others are working on exactly
Yes,
this
they
amnesty
are.
for those who have insight and can testify.
Yes,
In
yes.
another congressional hearing, we are living an exciting time.
Yes. So
Yes.
that idea of amnesty is nothing new, and it's an idea that is spreading. And
Hmm.
I have a lot of respect for both George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell,
Right.
and there are so many wonderful people who are
Hmm.
now involved in opening up everybody's minds, and we can communicate with beings anytime we want to,
I
really.
agree.
We've forgotten who we are. We have global amnesia. We are the cousins of many of these evolved beings who are here.
Hmm.
We have just forgotten who we are.
I agree. So, what do you think of the whole CE5 movement? Do you think this is a good thing?
Well, I'm about to participate in a CE5
Ooh,
experiment pretty soon, like next
very
month,
nice.
and I certainly have my mind open to it. I
Yeah,
have it.
just come down here. You can call them out easy.
Oh yeah, oh my.
You can.
That's really active where
Yeah.
you are.
Oh, yeah.
I have for years I've been using there's a little app that Stephen Greer has.
That's right.
It's this little tool, the C5, and you can just download it. I think it's free. You download it and you
No,
can
I think he charges for it.
Oh, does
No,
he
I was
charge
going
for
to
it?
say I'd be
There's
impressed if he gave anything
Yeah, I
away for
think
Oh,
I
free, but
yeah,
right.
he
I think it's
doesn't.
about $30 or something, but
Oh,
there's a
okay.
lot of info on it, and
Oh
he
yeah,
keeps adding to it. Yeah.
and you get the meditation sounds that he
Yep.
uses. You get all the things that you need
Hmm.
to call in some benevolent craft. And I have a very
Oh,
close
was it
friend.
$10, Michael said.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I have a very
10,
close
wait,
friend.
is Michael in US?
Yes.
$10 can be like
So it's
30 to
$30
40 a
Canadian,
year.
Michael.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
$30 Canadian. That's about what it is
Kidding.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
firstborn. So
But I do have a friend who she no longer does it. She worked in the Stephen Greer organization
Yeah,
and
it's
participated in
$13.99.
many,
Sorry.
many of these protocols, and
Mhm.
has seen. She says, "I've seen craft, I've seen beings,
Mhm.
I've seen." So we can. No one's going to be able to stop us from communicating with other benevolent beings if we wish
It's
to.
Yeah. And it's
I know
affordable. It's only $13.99, ladies.
Yeah,
I know down here, I've done it just randomly, just basically taking a drive and say, okay, just I put it out there, and next thing you
yeah.
know, bam, in
That's
the
all it
house,
takes.
in the
That
house,
Yeah, well, they can absolutely do
full
that.
on. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think your chances of doing that are great. As I
yeah,
try
I'm
to
good.
tell people, it's all about your intention.
yeah,
Look at Tom Conwell, who's come on and he said, nope, that's it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put my intention out and I'm going to talk to them. Every night he did it. He came on our
He
show and he
did.
goes,
It took him a few years though, but he got it.
yeah, but he said at one point, he goes, he's when he got serious about it, he went out and did it. And within a week or two, it started becoming a regular thing.
Yeah,
mhm,
I'm good. I'm good.
So here it's just like I put it out there, and we were just driving a couple weeks ago. We have this thing over the river where it just randomly does this flash thing, goes just like this. This is
mhm,
really so.
mhm.
I'm driving down one night, and I'm like, "Where are you?" Because I'm thinking, "Where are you?" And because I could just, I just sense the presence, and I just think, "Oh, it's gonna be one of those nights," you know. And all of a sudden, I just see this bright light that just goes, just disappears, just like that. And it's not all the time. It's just a random place over the river that it happens.
Wow. Well, I mean,
No app.
no app. I know what you're talking about. I think that you're just getting a little signal, little nod. You
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
know,
with
so.
I
Carolyn.
I
I'm
think
thought
they
good.
can.
I'm good.
I
I
think
thought
they
it
can
maybe
do.
was a portal, but then we'd see it all the time, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm afraid my clumsy behind will end up through a portal if I call something in. I'm not
I'll
afraid
come
of the
get you. Don't
beings.
worry.
I'm not
Don't
afraid of the beings.
worry.
I'm afraid of like slipping through time because that's just any if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. It always does. That's my concern. It's like, oh, I see them and then I don't want to come back, you know?
Right. Right. I don't know, but I would be really interested in hearing about your experiences if you pull this off.
My
You
experiences.
see E5. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You're going to go give it a whirl. I'd
oh
love
my
to hear
God,
about it.
yes,
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about it after that
Okay.
happens, and, but I know that, I'm expecting that we'll get results. I have a very good
I
feeling
have no
about it,
doubt.
Oh
and,
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think it's gonna be quite something, but I will, give you a full and complete
I'm
report.
very excited for
Yeah.
you. Unlike Bubbles, who's like, no, don't want to do this. I am very excited for
I'm
you. I
excited
think
for
this is
you.
great.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for everyone. I just don't want to do it. I'm not ready yet. I'm just not ready.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I
Michelle,
honestly feel that when I am, it will not be difficult. I do have that gut
Yeah.
feeling that it will not be difficult.
I agree. It
It's
won't
because
be
it's already
difficult at all.
happened.
It's already happened, so not to worry.
She's
Not
like,
to
what?
worry.
No.
Not to worry.
So
I
we're
have enough to
nearing
deal with on the dark side, so
we're nearing the end of the show already. We're at that point. So
Oh.
yeah, I know. So just tell everybody how they can find you, what you've got coming up, and
Oh,
all the
wow,
fun
it's
stuff.
okay. Well, you can always reach me at, excuse me, Lesley, Lesley, at lightworkhypnosis.com. And that's all one word, all lowercase. And you can find me on Facebook as Lesley Mitchell Clarke or Lightwork Hypnosis or Contact TV. And my most recent book is called Intersections, which was written by Wes Roberts and myself, and that can be obtained at Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, wherever you Amazon. And the next fun thing I have coming up has nothing to do with ufology, but I'm also a singer and entertainer, and I'm going to
Ooh.
be performing at the TD Niagara Jazz Festival on June 20th.
Wow,
So
very
that's my
nice.
next fun thing.
Nice.
So
TD
that's what you should be
Niagara. So
doing, your
it's out
CE5.
this way.
Pardon me?
That's
It's
what you
out
should
this
do, your
way.
CE5. Sorry,
Oh,
in Niagara.
At the
oh
jazz
yeah.
festival?
At
No,
the
but
Well,
at
we
the
could
go down by the river quietly,
yeah.
Fort Erie way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
we
It's
might have to join her.
that would be fantastic. I tell you,
Oh my
it's
God, I
I'm
would love
playing at
to
a
see you perform.
it's a place called the Spirit Distillery, and it's a
Yes.
great gig. So that's where I'm going to be on June 20th, and
Nice.
with my little group, the Melatonins.
I love I love it.
I
I love
love it. I love
it.
it. Who's
That's
your favorite
amazing.
jazz artist, Lesley? Off topic.
Oh golly, I have so many favorites. Carmen McRae, Billie Holiday. I
Oh,
love
Billy.
Sarah Vaughan, um, uh, Jackie and Roy. I loved Irene Krall. I mean, I have a big list. But
Aw.
anyway,
But
there you go.
send me some information on the new book so we could have a
I
gander at it.
will.
Maybe have you and Wes on together.
That would be
That would be
fantastic,
nice.
my
That
dear.
would
That
be
That
would
would be
be
a
nice.
lot of fun.
fantastic. We'd really enjoy that for
Well, then
sure.
I
Oh,
say
we love
Yeah.
let's
you.
do it. So if you
Make it
want to
so.
make it so,
Make it so.
exactly.
We
Exactly.
need to have
Screw the
dinner, and
prime
if you're
directive.
we
So
need to have dinner, but we might have to start at lunch. I have a feeling we'd have to
Okay.
start at lunch
Well, that's a
because
good idea. We'll do the yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
it'll be the lunch segueing into dinner.
There we
Yeah,
I
go.
that
I
happened the
can
first time I met
yeah.
Michelle, so just saying.
There we go.
How Roman of us.
I like it. Bring on the wine. All
Well,
right.
thank you,
Perfect.
ladies, as always.
Yeah,
Amelia,
thank you.
thank you. Michelle, thank you. It's always
Welcome.
a joy.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
adore
And
you.
I'll
And you
email
take
you.
So
care.
much.
Okay.
All right, darling. Have a good night.
Good
Thank
night. Good
you.
night,
Bye-bye
beautiful.
now.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh gosh, she's so delightful. We just love having
She is.
her on. Well, of course, we have come to the end of another awesome segment, and I mean awesome. Big thank you to Lesley Mitchell Clarke, just simply for being amazing. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee, who are our biggest sponsors here on the show. They've been with us for the last 2.5 years. So thank you. Big thank you to Dr. Snick, Justin Snicker, our newest sponsor, for backing us up and giving us a new intro and outro. We appreciate you so much. Remember, whatever platform you are listening to the show on, again, if you love the content, please just subscribe or like us up and show us some support. We really appreciate you guys so much. If you'd like to see a specific guest or topic on the show, if you have any suggestions for content, again, the outer realm contact at gmail.com, the outer realm contact at gmail.com. I've also been asked to put this out there. MG Stevens, who was on our show a little while back, is writing another book on North American Indian paranormal stories, folklore, and experiences. So it's going to basically be a book on the paranormal via North American Indigenous people.
Nice.
So if you have stories, please send them in to the Outer Realm, again, at the Outer Realm contact at gmail.com. She is just in the collection process right now. She's going to be getting back to everybody. So all of your emails are going to go and get forwarded directly to her. And I think if you guys have great tales to tell, she would love to hear them and possibly put them in your book. Yeah, well, Michael, it's definitely in the archives, but if you've got cool stories, you know what? I believe she may be, is she Cherokee? I think she may be as well. Anyway, just drop a line. Tomorrow night, again, we welcome the return of Dr. Terje Simonsen, who's going to be continuing where he left off, talking about his book on the paranormal and parapsychology. And he is really just amazing. But if you have any questions on that, fire them off under our advertisement on the Outer Realm, because that way we'll be able to ask them in advance. It will be a pre-recorded show, and of course, you know, Amelia and I will be active tomorrow night with y'all. Like that, y'all. I know, I love it. But until then, we bid you guys a good night. Thank you all for tuning in. You guys just make it that much more fun here on the show. We'll see you all tomorrow night. Behave. I mean it.